have fun.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you are not real.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hi, and welcome to the second episode of this totally serious podcast.
Mm,
And today we are talking about creating content without having an audience.
yes, there's no
So,
audience.
the first thing we can talk about is why does it feel so daunting to people to create content and then have no one watching it? Because can't it be like freeing in a sense? Like, mm, can't it be freeing in a sense that you don't have to perform for anyone? You can just do whatever you want.
Yay! I mean, it just made me think about a very intriguing instance. Like, it's really curious because often enough when content creators are like saying that, okay, like how do you create a conversation, right, when you're sitting there by yourself and you want to like um how do you say it again? Yeah, basically you want to converse without anyone present, right? To make
Hmm.
to make the dialogue exciting even if no one is there, but to entice people that would be watching, right?
Hmm.
um but in some way that is also curious to me because I just thought about what you said, and I know that as an example, when I am aware of the fact that there's no one around me, like in the car, it, it does kind of feel freeing in a sense. Like if you think about it, I usually sing the most in the car.
Hmm.
And it's not necessarily because I'm listening to music, because I also listen to music in private at home, but I
Hmm.
think it might be because I am expecting no one to be able to hear it.
I
I
guess
guess.
when you're just doing stuff for yourself, you don't feel like you have to perform. Like you can just experiment and you can just like do things you want to do and try things you want to try, and you won't feel as um, embarrassed if it doesn't work out or if it doesn't do well, because we put a lot of pressure on succeeding, even though failing is something that you learn by, right? If you
Yeah.
don't do it at all, then you don't learn. If you do it and you fail, you learn.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it's more important to create for yourself. I mean, if you have a business or anything, if you want to do YouTube as a business, or if you want to make creative content as a business, then obviously that's not the case. But I feel like it's very tiring to make content for other people and not for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. It's I mean, certainly when you are in the expectation of people being around, you also kind of imagine what type of person they are, right? I know that
Hmm.
in a period of time where I mm, wasn't that wasn't that I guess I could say confident about myself. More so in my ability to, it's kind of silly, control myself in a sense. It felt like it was like this period of where of verbal perfection in a sense. It's kind of a way of perfectionism, right? Where you never want to say
Hmm.
anything wrong, right? Where it is kind of, because I think this is kind of hanging around places like Twitter or anything else, because that's the places where someone will essentially just drag you over the table for something wrong you said like 12 years ago or something, right? So it kind of creates that field of what would be the possibility of me saying something that might result in someone getting angry.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't have an audience, you don't really have that. So,
Yeah, it causes you to just blabber about how you would do anyways, right?
hmm I think it's important to create content for ourselves
Yeah,
because we often make content. I mean, a lot of people make content because they have an idea or they want to do something fun, but over time care a lot about what their audience wants and needs, which is, also good, but it's important that you still have fun while making videos.
yeah,
Unless it's a business, I guess, then it doesn't matter as much, but if you want it to be sustainable, then, you know.
yeah. Especially if it's like hobbyist creation, right? Where you're essentially doing it for the fun of things.
Yeah, I feel like that's always the best way to start, doing it for the fun of things.
Yeah,
Eventually you can learn and grow, but if you're, at least that's what I have been dealing with.
yeah. It's also that I think there should always be a little bit of that spark, no matter if you what you make of it in the end. Because once you give this kind of spark of creating it for the fun of things away, then like is it really still something that is made for you, right? You're kind of
hmm
part of the audience in that sense, right? This is something that you can obviously make for others, but also that you make for yourself, no matter if you care for it or not, right?
I think starting it as a hobby is the best idea at first. Or at
Yeah,
least not putting as much pressure on yourself to create something other people will like. Because
yeah,
if you're always gonna create for other people, then you'll eventually get burnt out. Then you won't like what you make. Because if you want YouTube as a value, like, if you want YouTube as a career path that is possible for you, you have to find an audience that actually likes what you make and not the other way around.
yeah. I mean, if you
You don't.
actually always listen to just what the audience wants, right? You basically end up being in the same position as a kind of company would be with their shareholders, right?
Mhm.
Because a shareholder will just tell you what to do and they have jack shit knowledge and what is actually something the company wants. I mean, the company just usually
Yeah.
does what the shareholders want, right?
It definitely changes your mindset when you create for yourself versus when you create for an audience.
Yeah.
So maybe just having a time where you can experiment and figure out what you like making and your style is important.
Yeah. Certainly. Hmm. I mean,
Because there's also a lot of pressure on making your content like finished and like making it look good and stuff like that, but having messy content can be freeing.
oh, this is like kind of my brain immediately kind of went to actually pretty funny, but in some sense, Doug Doug is a good example of this, I feel. Because some of the
Mhm.
streams are genuinely something others would consider unwatchable, right? But the people love it. The community loves it. The more unwatchable it is, the more likely they'll flock to it. Like when just the fact that just a random idea that like, oh, every second black pixel spawns on the screen, right? And the stream will become more and more like dark and until it disappears, right?
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
certainly,
it gives character.
yeah. I think the community and DuckDuck, these two instances are something I think to be admired and to be appreciated for what it is, because this is basically, this is kind of how I think a perfect like relationship between audience and the streamer would be like, right? I mean, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to be that there's some sort of expectations either would put up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can genuinely tell that like he's fed up with a certain joke or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But from what I have understood, he does not want to do things that he doesn't enjoy as well.
Yeah.
So he certainly, even if like someone like asks like, oh, are you gonna make like a video on like this game, and he's like, well, I don't see any good ideas yet for this that I would enjoy, then and like I probably won't do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember he said something to that degree on some I think it was regarding the Legend of Zelda um Breath of the Wild. I've just watched a video of that. It's just um can't exactly remember what it was, but yeah. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And you can always appreciate the people that watch you without, like, you know, having to. You can still appreciate and the people that watch you. Like, you
Yeah.
can enjoy that people are watching you, and but ultimately, it's better if you just experiment around without worrying too much what other people think.
Yeah.